and welcome back to It's Time for Yarn. Today, I'm going to be answering some questions that I was tagged in by my good friend Shannon from Shannon Tucks Yarn. Stay tuned. Alright guys, today has just been one of those days where my hair is too big, nothing feels right, so I was like, you know what, let me put on a big hat and some big earrings. It's going to be alright. Let's get started with these questions. Now, pull this right up. The first question is, how old were you when you learned to crochet? I was about 8 years old. I had a babysitter that was an older lady, and she crocheted all the time. And I was curious, like, what are you doing all the time? She's, I'm crocheting. You want to learn? I'm like, okay. And so she taught me how to crochet, and I've been crocheting ever since. What was the first thing you remember making? Well, naturally, the first thing we all make is a chain, and I remember working on those. But the first, like, actual item that I remember making was a small American flag. Was probably only about like that big, and I gave it to my 4th grade teacher, so I was about 9 or 10 when I gave it to her. I made it out of half double crochets, and I was practicing changing yarn, and I remember the sides not being straight, being kind of crooked, and you know, of course, as a 9-year-old, I didn't know why it was crooked, but it was made with love, and hopefully she loved it. And as a teacher, I'm sure she was like, oh, thanks, and in her mind thinking, oh. But, you know, again, it was made with love. Next is, what is the make that you are most proud of and why? I'm most proud of my Naya Mosaic blanket that my son has now. I'll link my blanket tour that shows that blanket down below so you guys can see it. But that was a challenge for me. I'd never done anything with mosaic crochet, and it just turned out so beautiful, and I was so proud that I did that. And after that, my pooling blankets are my next proudest thing, because I was like, oh, I cannot believe that I did that. I'm amazed. Amazed with myself, you know. Hashtag humble. It says, what is the oldest yarn you have in your stash? The oldest yarn I think I have, the yarn I've had the longest, is probably some camo Red Heart Super Saver. My son, who actually just turned 27 yesterday, he several years ago requested a blanket, and a camo blanket, and I got it started. It was like made of granny squares, and the color changes every other row and all that, and it just became really tedious. So I just kind of put it in a bag and put it aside, and it's been in that bag probably about 6 years. Oh, I'm sorry, son. But the last time I worked on it, was on a road trip to Alabama when we buried my dad, and I messed up on part of it, and I just was not in a good space, and so it's still in that bag and still unfinished. One day I will finish it, but right now I just don't want to look at it. So it's one of those projects that's been going on for a while. Comment down below if you have a project like that. Next it says, are you a knife or pencil grip? I'm definitely knife. I have attempted to do the pencil grip where the needle's pointing down, and I do not understand how anyone can hold their hook that way. I cannot do it that way. I don't know if it's just because I learned the other way or what. It's just a matter of what's comfortable to you. There's nothing wrong with either way. I just can't do it. So I hold it like a knife and I go to town. Let's see. Do you prefer Boye or Susan Bates style hooks? Well, I learned with Boye because that's just what my babysitter had, and she gave me a couple of them, and I didn't know any different until I became an adult, really, and could like have my own money and go shopping on my own. But now, after playing around with a few hooks and things like that, I really enjoy the Susan Bates hooks quite a bit. My favorite hook is an acrylic hook from her that it's like a pretty blue color and it's a size N. I think that's a question later. I'll get to that in a minute. So I prefer Susan Bates style. And what's your favorite brand of hook? I know there's like Clover and Prim and Susan Bates. There's lots of different brands. Furls. I've not tried Furls. I've tried the Hobby Lobby dupe for Prim, and I didn't like it. The neck was a little bit too long for me, so I haven't splurged all the money for Prim, so I don't really know if I like Prims. Definitely haven't splurged on a Furls yet, so I may like them. I usually prefer hooks that have a thumb grip, and Furls don't have that, so I'm kind of nervous about trying those, but right now my favorite brand is Susan Bates. Favorite hook size or range of sizes? I definitely love an N. N is my favorite size hook. I like the way it feels on my hand. I like the size of the projects that it creates. The Susan Bates comes in a pack of like 6 of them, 5 or 6 hooks. And the end that's in there, ugh, if I had it with me, I'd pull it out, but I didn't think that far ahead, so I'm sorry. Let's see, your favorite weight of yarn. My favorite weight is definitely a bulky 6. I can do bulky 5 as well, and I work with 4. Like this is a 4. You know, I have other weights of yarns that I work with, but my favorite is a bulky 6. Like this one, like this yarn bee. I love this. I love this one specifically. I like the way that these are wound together, the softness of it, the smoothness of the yarn. Like that, you have bulky 6s and things that have like a big halo and lots of texture, and those are great, but I really like the smoother yarns that will glide across that end Susan Bates hook very nicely. So that's my favorite is bulky 6. What's your favorite yarn fiber and why? I haven't really experimented much with a variety of fibers. I don't have much experience with any kind of wool or anything. I just like acrylic. You know, it's readily available, comes in beautiful colors, nice textures, depending on, you know, how it was spun and the different, you know, just textures of it that you can get, whether it's super soft or not as soft, that kind of thing. So acrylic is fine with me for now. Maybe one day I will venture out into the more expensive yarns, but right now it's fine. What I can get at my local yarn stores are totally fine, craft stores. Let's see, feature one of your favorite yarns. Oh, I kind of did that already. I love this yarn bee. This is Color Play in Forest Trails, but I just love the size and the texture of any kind of yarn like this. It doesn't have to be yarn bee. I actually picked up some Cairn cakes from Michael's yesterday that were on clearance, that are bulky 6s as well, and they're the smooth acrylic like this, and I just can't wait to work with them. I know it's going to be awesome and just so satisfying. So let's see, what is your favorite crochet item to make? Definitely blankets. Stay tuned. I'm going to be filming a blanket tour. I'm discussing these that are behind me coming up, so stay tuned for that. What is one crochet item? Oh wait, what crochet item do you least enjoy making? I do not enjoy making beanies. Now I don't mind making the kind of hats that you make like a rectangle and then you like join it at the seam and then cinch it at the top and put like a puff on top. Those are cute. I can manage those, but like the beanies like in the round that you start with a circle and it gets bigger and then it goes down, I am terrible at knowing where to make it start going down the crown of the head. You know, like I can make the circle and it gets bigger and bigger and it's fine, but I'm like, do I start decreasing? Do I just start going around now? Like, do I make it go down? And then I can't make it far enough over the ears or make it too far, and I can't, there's a block in my brain when it comes to making beanies for some reason. So that is my least favorite thing to make. I do make them every now and then for my husband. When it gets a little cooler and he has to work outside, he asks me to make him some, but usually we just buy them because I'm like, I'm not very good at making these, honey. I'm sorry. I know my limits, and that's it. What is one crochet item that you have yet to make? I have not made a sweater yet, or like a cardigan. That is on my list. I have a poncho that I want to make, and I have some yarn that's inspiring me to make a sweater for my mom. My mom actually claimed it. She's like, I want that. I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna make a sweater for my mom one day. I'll get there. Describe your color palette. I really enjoy cooler colors. So like these blues and teals, greens and teals, those are really more my jam, and like maybe some pinks, just fun colors. I use these bright colors because that's the yarn I needed to make this color pooling pattern, and it's beautiful and I love it. However, I'll probably end up donating it just because it's not really my aesthetic. My other one that's in neon, this is Primary Stripes from Red Heart. My other one that is in neon stripes from Red Heart is more my style, where it's the black with like the neon pink and the purple and the teal. Like those are more what I enjoy. What's your favorite crochet hack? I don't know if it's really a hack or if it's just like smart. But I watched a video from Tony with TL Yarn Crafts a while ago where she used a stitch marker in her last stitch. Like she had to stop a project and put it to the side. And I had to do that before because I ran out of yarn. Actually, I think with this one. So you put a stitch marker in the loop, like you take your hook out and then put the stitch marker in the hole and tighten it. Instead of tying it off, you put the stitch marker in it and it holds it so it doesn't unravel. So I really enjoy that. I'm like, oh, that is so smart. Like, why have I never thought of that? So thank you, Tony. What are your thoughts on crochet being a trend and companies mass producing it? I don't know. It's kind of fun that others are, especially like younger people, are appreciating the craft or the art. But you know, it kind of cheapens it a little bit to me because if they're mass producing it and then selling it for cheaper than what we can sell it for, it kind of makes people look at it, well, I can just get it from Target for $35. Like I had a lady I ran into the other day at work, and she had a purse. If I can, I'll put a picture in. And I asked her, I was like, hey, can I take a picture of that? And she was like, yeah. She got it at Target for $35. And I was like, wow, $35. Okay. And I'm thinking, could we do that? Could I like make that bag and line it and sell it for $35? I don't know if people would be willing to pay that much to me. So I don't know. So it's kind of tricky, kind of slippery slope. Feature a pattern designer that you like and highlight one of their patterns. I really like Pink Sheep Design. She uses bulky yarns like I like to use, but she uses them to make wearables. And I am interested in that. Like, wow, like I never really thought to use this big bulky yarn to make these kind of cool, funky cardigans, I did do a test, design test for her Nancy bralette, and I will try to insert a picture of myself modeling my bralette that I made. That pattern isn't quite out yet, but it should be coming out either at the end of August 22 or early September. So be on the lookout for that with Pink Sheep Designs. I really enjoy the things that she makes in her style. What is the next pattern you want to make? I don't know, really. I'm kind of on a kick right now of finishing my work in progress projects, because I kind of feel like if I get too many going, I feel like they're weighing on me, like they're in the back of my head, like, you need to finish this, you need to get this done, get it out of the way. And Krista from The Secret Yarnery, she made a comment on one of her lives that she was in. I was watching one day, and she was like, you don't have to finish it. You don't have to. That's a lie. You don't have to finish everything that you start. And, I keep trying to remind myself of that. I don't have to finish it. Like, I don't have to, For example, this blanket, I started it for my tutorial that I did and ran out of the yarn and had to wait for it to come back in stock so I could buy more. And it did come back in stock. I bought more, and I've been working to finish it up just because I just want to get it finished. I want to finish it. I don't know if I'll start a new project or if I will finish up I have like 2 or 3 of my current works in progress, not counting the camo one that I talked about earlier. That's an unfinished object that's just kind of hanging out until I'm ready. But I love this yarn. I am inspired by it. Like, it is, to me, it's just really cool looking, really beautiful. It's soft and textured. It's in the color Jungle. This is Turin Jungle, and it goes with my hat, right? I feel kind of jungly with my hat, like I should be leading, Jungle Cruise in Disney World. But this is a bulky 6 yarn, exactly what I like. So I may, even though my whips are kind of calling to me, I may just be like, you know what? I do what I want and make something with this next. I'm not sure. We'll see. And what is your best tip for beginners? Well, my best tip for beginners is don't judge a project by the first row. The first row is the hardest. Making that chain across, trying to keep count, and then working back through it can be tedious, can be cumbersome, and it can kind of look not the greatest, but once you get going, get past those first couple rows, you really have something to hang on to while you're working, and it makes it a lot easier. So if your first row looks kind of wonky, you're not too happy with it, don't give up. Keep going. Give yourself a little bit of grace, and it'll turn out. You'll be surprised at how good it looks by the time you're finished. Also, all of the little mistakes that you make, nobody's gonna see it. That blanket right there, it's full of mistakes, but you know what? I'm the only one that knows that they're there. You do your best to hide it, you fix it as you go along, and nobody will know. Nobody will care. They'll only see, wow, that's amazing. And you're like, I know, thank you, I did that. Thank you very much. And so don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace and work past those first couple rows before you give up on something. So that's all of my answers to those questions. I would like to tag Dina's Homespun Fun. I'd like to say thank you to her for giving me a shout out on her channel, and thank you to her subscribers for coming over and liking what they see and helping me gain. I gained about 100 subscribers from her, so I really appreciate that. I'm very close to 1,000. That's my next goal. So I just wanted to say thank you to Dina's Homespun Fun and tag her in this and hopefully get to know her a little bit more. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget, it's yarn o'clock somewhere, so no matter what time it is, it's always time for yarn.